P. Chidambaram's counsel has levelled a huge charge in the top court, alleging that the CBI court's order was based on the notes of the probe agency. Chidambaram's counsel, Kapil Sibal, said that they were not even given the opportunity to respond. He said that the order of the High Court was a copy-paste of the agency's notes, which were submitted to the court. The ED has also sought custodial interrogation of the former Finance and Home Minister. So this is an important update coming in, and this is what correspondent Minakshi Bhanja has been highlighting for us. What we have just heard is that Mr. Chidambaram's counsel has said that the order that was read out by the Delhi High Court was ad verbatim the same note that the probe agency submitted, which means that the court did not act on its own discretion, but took completely relied on the notes presented by the probe agency. Now, let's understand what this means. Minakshi joins us with more. Minakshi, tell us what exactly the Chidambaram's lawyer, I believe Kapil Sibal, has made this important observation. What exactly does it mean?
Well, there's some very, very interesting back and forth happening here in the Supreme Court. Remember, as we speak, the ED also now has disclosed before the Supreme Court that eventually it will want indent Chidambaram in custody. And ED, representing ED, Solicitor General Chan Mehta said that the ED has information that Mr. Chidambaram has 17 bank accounts abroad, and custodial interrogation is the only way to which the ED hopes it can gain access to Mr. Chidambaram. And earlier, before Tushar Mehta's averments came in, we had a grave charge being levelled by both the counsels of Mr. Chidambaram, Abhishek Manu Singhvi and Kapil Sibal, who essentially went on to say this, Afrida, like you rightly mentioned, that after the big events in the Delhi High Court, a note was allegedly being handed over to the single judge, now retired Justice Gaur of the High Court, who copy-pasted the contents of the note exactly verbatim in his order. This is a charge which obviously is being vehemently denied as we speak by the Solicitor General representing the agencies in the Supreme Court, Mr. Tushar Mehta, who is going on to say as to how this kind of charge is completely unfair and the matter is being very, very hotly contested as we speak. The solicitor, as a matter of fact, as a counter to that particular note charge of Kapil Sibal and Abhishek Manu Singhvi, went on to state before the Supreme Court to how High Court is to make allegations against the judge, and he also went on to tell the Supreme Court that the agency had filed, but it was based on the findings of the probe against Mr. Chidambaram. So it is a very, very high voltage packed courtroom drama which is playing out, Afrida, clearly with a lot of political implications.
Absolutely. So take us through the important arguments made in court so far. Like you're telling us, both of these very high-profile lawyers, Abhishek Manu Singhvi and Kapil Sibal, is fighting for P. Chidambaram. The arguments that have been made by these, these individuals are extremely interesting. Now, of all the things that have been mentioned today, the important thing is that there is a charge which is literally leveled against the Delhi High Court, that they're reading out the note ad verbatim handed over by the probe agency. Isn't that an extremely serious charge?
Well, absolutely, Afrida. It is not against the Delhi High Court, but now a retired senior judge of the Delhi High Court. And essentially, the argument which is playing out is to emphasize as to how there is a unilateral vendetta being carried out against Mr. Chidambaram, and the agencies are hand in glove in this witch hunt / vendetta. Essentially, why this is happening is because of this, Afrida. We know that the Supreme Court has adjourned the issue pertaining to CBI's custodial interrogation of Mr. Chidambaram till Monday, which is when his police remand technically ends, because the trial court judge has already granted remand to CBI. But the new fact that has emerged today is this, that the Enforcement Directorate, the ED, also has to the Supreme Court that it wants to interrogate Mr. Chidambaram in custody. The ED says it has information as to how he has 17 bank accounts outside of India.
Yes.
And with Mr. Chidambaram's intelligence and mental faculties, this is one of the arguments in the Supreme Court by the solicitor. He says that with Mr. Chidambaram's mental faculty and intelligence, it is only viable that he will answer to questions in custody, and therefore a custodial interrogation is the need of the hour. Now, before that, we had the sequence of Mr. Kapil Sibal and Abhishek Manu pointing out this note purportedly handed over to the now retired single judge of the Delhi High Court, saying that after the bail arguments concluded in the Delhi High Court, a note was handed over, and that the contents of the note allegedly have been copy-pasted verbatim in the High Court's order.
Right.
So that's a very, very grave charge that is emerging from the arguments today. Of course, this charge is being very, very hotly rebutted and contested by the solicitor as we speak.
So there are 2 or 3 important points here. The first, of course, the handing over of the note, which Mr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi and Kapil Sibal believe has been read out by the court. Second, what you also just pointed out, that the ED has made it clear that they would like the custodial interrogation to be conducted for the cases under them. And third, the arguments made by Solicitor General Tushar Mehta. Minakshi, if you can break it down for us, because again, this is interesting, the kind of arguments that are being made against P. Chidambaram, especially the point that you raised about how his intelligence, his IQ, his mental faculties have also been factored in. How is that relevant, Minakshi?
Well, it is one of the grounds being relied upon in the Supreme Court. It is a subject matter of argument, and it is being argued as we speak, where the solicitor is raising the issue of high intelligence of Mr. Chidambaram to illustrate the point, and I quote, that there are certain individuals with his mental faculty, and they would never divulge anything if they remain under protection of anticipatory bail, unquote. So with this, he is pressing for a custodial interrogation by not just CBI, but also ED, on the grounds that the agencies believe that he has 17 bank accounts outside India. So this is the nature of the high-octane developments and arguments in the Supreme Court as we speak. Remember,
right,
this is also something which we saw play out yesterday when the solicitor, before the trial court judge, consistently maintained that there are questions only that Mr. Chidambaram can answer, and he is a person of high intelligence and high IQ, and he is likely to speak only when interrogated in custody. So this is a ground which is again continuing here in the Supreme Court, and of course we had seen yesterday Abhishek Manu Singhvi rebut those arguments, saying that the agencies are consistently maintaining that he is purportedly non-cooperative and evasive, but it is his right to answer the questions in the manner in which he deems fit.
All right. So very strong arguments made, and some very, very interesting ones that will be, I'm sure, debated over the next few hours. Important points highlighted by Minakshi, who's tracking the story very closely. This is a developing situation. Viewers, do stay tuned for more. Thanks, Minakshi.